What's good, fam? We gotta talk, cause Pusha T just exposed something crazy about Drake. I'm talking about labels secretly blocking diss tracks, Kendrick features getting erased, and Drake doing anything he can to keep Push quiet. Bruh, the L's Drake taking right now could fill a whole documentary, and I'm here to spill all the tea. And trust, it only gets wilder from here, so lock in. Alright, first off, we gotta get right into it. Pusha T pulled up recently on a podcast and dropped bombs about how Def Jam and Universal had this secret group, a whole lyrics review board, basically controlling what he could say. And no cap, this only started after Push bodied Drake with Story of Adidon. Coincidence? Nah, bruh. Push said these label heads would scan every bar, every track he recorded, and if they thought a line even remotely shaded Drake, it was an automatic dub. Song blocked, release canceled, everything shut down. Crazy part? Push wasn't even name dropping Drake like that, but they still kept labeling his bars as problematic. Imagine that. You cooking fire tracks, disses flying your way, and you literally can't respond. That's exactly how Push felt for years, silenced by some suits protecting Drake, and Drake just sitting pretty, throwing subliminals like on Churchill Downs, Meltdown, and even 8 a.m. in Charlotte, knowing Push's hands were tied behind his back. The level of petty here is next level, fam. But yo, that wasn't even the worst part. Wait till y'all hear how they finessed Push out of his Kendrick feature. Alright, so Clips and Kendrick Lamar linked up. Automatic W, right? Wrong. Push had a finished track called Chains and Whips, had Kendrick on it and everything. They turned it in thinking it was set to be legendary, but the label said nope and gave the weakest excuse ever. They claimed Kendrick saying the phrase trump card was problematic and risky. Like seriously? Kendrick and Push are known for pushing boundaries, and this little phrase had the label shook. Come on now, we all know what's really up. Push saw through the cap immediately. This wasn't about no trump card. It was the label trying to keep Kendrick Lamar, another GOAT, away from Pusha T because it would amplify the beef Drake clearly lost years ago. They knew having Kendrick on Push's side would shift power way too heavy. So what happened next? Push had to drop 7 figures, over $1 million, to buy himself out of that contract just to speak freely again. Imagine paying $1 million just to get out of someone else's feelings. Nah, man, Drake really got the whole industry moving funny out here. But fam, if you thought that was wild, wait till you hear how deep this silent war really went. Alright, look, battle rap's about going bar for bar, right? 2 MCs duking it out on wax, letting the fans decide who's colder. But Drake, nah, he moved different. Dude was throwing sneak disses left and right, dropping subliminals on every project, while behind the scenes making sure Push couldn't clap back. Songs like Meltdown and Churchill Downs are loaded with low-key shots at Push, and even Drake's recent Deluxe joint, Underscore for All the Dogs Underscore, had subs packed tight. Meanwhile, Push had heat sitting in storage, collecting dust, cause the suits upstairs said so. Yo, imagine if Nas and Jay had their beef, and Def Jam was like, nah Nas, you can't drop Ether, that's too harsh on Jay. Hip-hop history would be completely different, and that's exactly the kind of censorship Drake had working for him. Industry heads protecting his feelings over real rap. And honestly, that's why Drake losing mad respect in the game now. You can't claim to be the GOAT when you out here ducking smoke behind closed doors. This ain't hip-hop, this is politics. Drake turning the game into Capitol Hill, bruh. But Drake's soft industry tactics ain't even his latest. Yo, when you hear what he's been doing lately outside the booth, bro might have just secured his biggest clown move yet. Alright, so recently Drake thought it was a W to pull up on stage at a Morgan Wallen concert. Yeah, that Morgan Wallen, the same dude who dropped the N-word casually like it was nothing a few years back. Fans on Twitter went off immediately, dragging Drake left and right for chasing clout with the country music bad boy. Now some fans tried to defend Drake, calling it strategic marketing or whatever, but nah, let's be real. Drake been doing whatever it takes to stay relevant, even if it means siding with dudes the culture ain't rocking with. And this Morgan Wallen thing, it just proves Drake's desperation is at an all-time high. Bruh, Drake out here losing fans who stuck with him since Take Care, all cause he wanna buddy up with someone problematic to stay buzzing. He chasing that bag in places hip-hop ain't feeling, and it's getting hella obvious he don't care what real rap heads think no more. And speaking of questionable connections, yo, Drake been moving real different on streams lately, and it's about to take him into some wild new territory. Alright, let's talk about this new Drake pivot real quick. Bruh been hanging heavy around Aiden Ross lately. You know, the dude who stays catching heat on Kick and Twitch for being controversial and cozying up with them red hat type dudes, and now Drake all of a sudden want to pop up, talking about he rocking with streams and kicking it on platforms where dudes really push boundaries in some wild directions. Coincidence? Nah, man, this looking real calculated. A bunch of folks online speculating Drake trying to slide into this conservative culture war space. Maybe he thinking that side won't hold him accountable for all the rap community smoke he been ducking. Like he low-key trying to find a whole new fan base of dudes who gonna cheer him on no matter what, even if it means linking with dudes who the culture been left behind. But let's keep it real. This move got a lot of his old school fans tight. Drake built his whole career claiming Toronto, claiming hip-hop, claiming culture. But now he playing games to find a new home because real rap fans ain't letting this censorship slide. Bro, you can't erase history with some Aiden Ross streams and a Morgan Wallen collab. It just don't work like that. And trust, y'all, this weird shift is more evidence Drake spiraling out right in front of us. But is Drake really powerful enough to silence other rappers besides Push? Bruh, there's some theories floating around that's gonna have you rethinking everything. All right, now peep this theory. No cap, just speculation. You ever wonder why certain rappers like $1 AP Rocky been pushing their albums back forever? Rocky been talking about dropping an album for like 2 whole presidential terms now, and we still ain't seen nothing. Could it really be just Rocky chilling, or is it something deeper? Like, could it be possible Drake using that same industry muscle that silenced Push to shut other dudes down too? Like I said, no confirmed receipts yet, but fans online been talking heavy about Drake being the reason some rappers can't release their projects, especially if those projects got bars potentially shading Drake. Rocky low-key hinted at tension with Drake back in the day. What if Drake saw those tracks early and pulled another lyrics committee move? It wouldn't even surprise me at this point, honestly. But here's the bigger picture, y'all. Rap is all about freedom of speech and authentic competition. If dudes like Drake can use money, paperwork, and corporate politics to silence competition, that ain't rap, that's straight up censorship. That's an L to the whole culture. And fans, artists, everybody gotta ask themselves if we're gonna let it slide or hold the line. But let's switch gears real quick, cause even with all this mess, there's ways Drake could have handled this way better. Peep game. Bruh, imagine for a second, Drake actually handled his beef with Push like a real MC. Imagine if Drake actually stepped up bar for bar after Story of Adidon. Instead of hiding behind label execs and a lyrics committee, what if Drake dropped a real diss track back, addressing the accusations head on, keeping it real with the fans? Or even better, imagine Drake being transparent about label politics, like saying, yo, the label tried to silence Push, but that's not how I move. Drop whatever you got. Let's battle this out fair and square. That would have actually earned respect from the fans, even if he took another lyrical, ill people respect courage more than money moves. And let's say he did collab with Morgan Wallen or Aiden Ross, he could have at least been upfront about why he's doing it instead of ducking accountability. Fans ain't dumb. They see through the gimmicks. Honesty always beats sneak moves in the long run, and Drake completely fumbled that. Real talk, healthy competition, transparency, and being real with your moves, that's what hip-hop respect is built on. Drake chose to play dirty behind the scenes instead, and now look at him, losing fans, respect, and credibility every day. But yo, let's wrap this up because I want to know what y'all really think about all this. So let's run it back quick. Drake really had a whole lyrics committee blocking Pusha T from responding, got a Kendrick Lamar collab silenced over some petty nonsense, linked up with Morgan Wallen despite obvious backlash, and is low-key trying to pivot into this weird conservative streaming lane. All this while potentially holding back other rappers in the industry from dropping their own heat. Fam, is Drake still really the sixth god, or did he just take the biggest self-inflicted L we've seen in rap history? And honestly, what does this say about where hip-hop is heading if this is allowed to slide? Drop your thoughts below. I need to see where y'all stand on this, because this conversation way bigger than Drake. This is about protecting hip-hop's soul and keeping competition real. And if you rock with this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, because the next video dropping about to blow y'all minds. Leaked Kendrick verse, more behind the scenes label drama, and trust me, it's already legendary. Catch y'all in the next one. Peace.